15 years after the original movie released in theaters, How to Train Your Dragon returns in live action. Directed by Dean DeBlua, starring Mason Thames, Nico Parker, Gerard Butler, and Nick Frost. This film is, of course, about how an ancient threat endangers the lives of Vikings and dragons alike on the Isle of Berk, and it is up to Hiccup, an inventive Viking, and Toothless, a Night Fury dragon, to forge an incredible friendship and bound into a new future together. So we're going to talk about this iteration of the film, and if you, as a Christian, should watch it, help you decide if this is the movie for you right now. Hey friends, welcome to the channel. I'm your host Tim, and we exist to help Christians live in the world, not of the world, by utilizing our convictions in the movies and shows we watch. How to Train Your Dragon, the 2025 version, is rated PG for some intense sequences of action and some peril. So we're going to go over any convictions you may have that may prevent you from watching this movie, any theological themes that are present within the film, and wrap it up with my own personal thoughts on the movie. Without further ado, let's dive into the Christian Conviction Meter. If you're brand new here, the Christian Conviction Meter is a series of 5 convictions that may distract or hinder your relationship with Jesus. Ultimately, it's a guide, tool, and resource to help you figure out if this movie is the right one to watch. Let's dive into our first category. And just like the original film, there is a lot of the same kind of action thrown together in this one. Because it's dealing with dragons, you have lots of fire. There is so much fire in a lot of the movie. I'd say about a good 50% of the film, there's a good amount of fire contained within this one. Maybe under 50. Either way, there's still a lot of flames, fire, all that stuff. Things crumbling, things burning that is contained within this movie. There also is, of course, lots of Viking action, lots of medieval action, broken shields, spears, swords, axes, broken things, broken ships. All of that is contained within this movie. So there's a good amount of action here, and it also can get pretty chaotic, especially when you have bigger dragons who knock into things, destroying half of mountains, destroying houses. All these things are present within this movie. There is also, just like the original film, some death of some dragons are eaten by other dragons. There also is some moments where it looks like some people are harmed by either the fire of dragons or just the destruction that dragons cause, but there isn't really anything explicitly on scene or in the view of the camera. It's more just kind of background images rather than specific camera focusing, zooming in on, oh, this person just got taken out by so-and-so dragon. So that's something to keep in mind. And of course, there is the use of catapults, which I guess I could have put in Viking action, but anyways, that's besides the point. Just like the original film, it's going to be a 2 out of 5 here in this category. It is live action, so that is something to keep in mind. There's a bit more realism here, but in terms of the amount of action that is contained within the film, it's about the same as the original. Luckily for us, our next 2 categories, which is lust and substances, you don't have anything to worry about for these sections of our review, any of these sections in our conviction meter. So the only thing here in terms of lust, there is a reference to Hiccup's mom's breastplate being used to forge his helmet, but again, that really isn't much anything to worry about, and there is no alcohol or drugs contained within the film. Both of these sections are going to be a 0 out of 5. Our next category is profanity, and once again, this movie is pretty on par with the original in terms of all the things that are happening, and once again, just like the original, hell is referenced. If I remember correctly, it is used twice within the film, which is a bit more than the original, but regardless of that, it still is used within the film, so to be on the safe side here, we're going to give this a 1 out of 5. Our last category is intense/horror scenes. This is not a horror movie, which means you do not have to worry about any horror images being contained within this film. That being said, though, because of the more realistic side of things, of it being a live action adaptation, the dragons can look pretty scary, can be pretty intimidating, especially for more younger viewers, because obviously it is kind of more geared towards a more general audience. So that is something to be wary of if you are a young parent. And like I talked about with the action, it is an intense movie in terms of its action. Lots of fighting dragons is throughout the entire movie. It is pretty much the premise of the film. So there is a lot of that there that comes with destruction, chaos, explosions, all the things you would expect. All of these can get pretty intense in this film. And lastly, there is some parallel elements contained within the film. There's some moments that can be shocking, surprising, that can be pretty scary. So those all are things to just kind of keep in mind, especially for younger viewers of this film. This is going to be a 2 out of 5 here as well. So overall, it's a 5 out of 25 on the conviction meter. It is one higher than the original animated movie, but we do want to preface that because obviously this is a live action adaptation of an animated film. So there is a bit more realism contained, and that is a part of this movie. But ultimately, this is to help you figure out whether or not this is something for you to watch. If any of the sections or things we talked about in this part of our review, if any of them compromise your convictions in any way, shape, or form, make sure to follow your convictions. Those are God-given. We do want to make sure that we are constantly looking towards Jesus and making sure that we are following the convictions he has given each and every single one of us, which can look different for all of us. Well, with that finished and wrapped up, let's move on to talking about some theological themes that are present within How to Train Your Dragon. And just like the original movie, there's nothing about Christianity contained within this film. Now, there is some references to different types of gods, namely Odin is referenced within the film, with Stoic kind of praising Odin rather than praising Jesus. So that is something to be noted, but there isn't anything explicitly about Jesus, Christianity, the church, the Bible. None of that is really contained within this movie. So with that wrapped up, let's dive into my thoughts on How to Train Your Dragon. And I do want to start off by saying I have been quite critical of live action remakes. The past 2 that have happened this year have both come from Disney, and Disney has pretty much been the solo artists, so to speak, in crafting these live action remakes. Some have been pretty good, others have been really bad. This, I can say with confidence, is the first live action adaptation that I think lives very close to the original movie. Like, this should be the gold standard of how any more, if there is any more, live action remakes take place by any company, whether it is Universal, because I know there's a sequel coming for this, as well as, of course, Disney in the future. You take what the audience loves about the original film, you take all of those elements, and sure, you add some things here and there, you extend some scenes, you plus some areas, you look to tweak and refine the minor details, but you keep the main point drive and everything focused on what did the original do and how can we translate it into live action. And I think this film is able to capture everything I just said in a way that is done very well. It is executed very well. And I will say the world of Berk looks absolutely fantastic. It looks lived in, it looks rich, it's a really solid environment, and it really just is a place that is like, oh yeah, this could very well be a place here even on Earth. It just looks really, really good. And of course, with that, the CG looks fantastic. It's actually really solid. The funny thing that I'm getting from this is the fact that Lilo and Stitch had like a Disney Plus budget, and then this movie had less money put towards it than the original How to Train Your Dragon film. And they both look great. So why do we have bloated budgets? That's besides the point, but what is the point, though, is everything looks really good. The dragons look good. I think they translated well. Our characters and their costumes are translated very well. I think one of the things I was kind of worried about is with stoic. Of course, Gerard Butler reprises his role. We'll talk about the actors here in a second, but I was definitely worried about how he looks because he's this like very big, brooding, muscular, like just a giant character. And I felt like he was translated pretty well. I mean, they definitely add some padding to Gerard because Gerard's not, very, very built as stoic is, but I thought they still did very well here. And this translates very much into talking about the actors. I want to start with talking about Gerard Butler. He is the only cast member to return and reprise their original role in the film. And he's one of one. There is no other stoic. It is Gerard Butler, and he is fantastic. He's one of my favorite characters in this franchise, and this movie once again proves why. The character development he has is great. The moments of tension are great. And at the end of the day, he's just trying to do what he thinks is best. And it's just all done so well. But I definitely want to give a special shout out here to Nico Parker and Mason Thames. They had a lot to live up to because Hiccup and Astrid are very iconic. Hiccup more so, but let's talk about Astrid. Nico Parker has been under a lot of flack even before the movie released because of different expectations. Let's put it that way. I thought she did really great. I liked her in The Last of Us. That was where I was first introduced to her as an actress. I think she did really great here. I think she brought a lot of the Astridisms from the original movies into this one. I think she also just brought her own kind of zeal, her own kind of way with the character that felt honoring to the original and brought something new and fresh. She also had a bit more time in this one than the original film. Let's talk about Mason Thames though. Mason blew me away. This is the first movie I have seen him in. I know he was in like a horror movie called The Black Phone. That's really where his like career just kind of took a upward trajectory. He was fantastic in this one. I think having someone who grew up with the original movies, someone who even funny enough wanted to be Hiccup, to play Hiccup, there's something cool about that. At the end of the day, he did great. He was great in the subtle moments where he needed to show subtle emotion, but he also was really solid in the moments where there needed to be lots of emotion, joy, excitement, sadness, fear, confusion, all of those things. He did very well. And I think Jay Baruchel, who's the original voice of Hiccup, would be very proud. I think Mason did a fantastic job portraying Hiccup. It honestly has me very excited to see specifically the two of them continue to grow as this franchise continues to develop. Obviously, we are getting a sequel, so to see how they continue to add to these characters in the future has me really excited. But we cannot leave talking about this review without talking about John Powell and his music. It's fantastic. It's amazing. He did add some few tweaks and changed not all that much, okay? He didn't change everything. He just added a few new additions, a couple tweaks to refine. And I thought he did once again a fantastic job here. It's a phenomenal score, really enjoyed it, but that's no surprise because this is one of the greatest film scores of all time. He kind of pulled what Hans Zimmer did with the live action Lion King, which is just adding a few new things here and there, just refining it, making it better, but still keeping the things people love. Test Drive is still fantastic. Can prove that. But overall, this movie was really good. And it could be because I went in with low expectations, not because of the fact that I thought the movie would be bad, but because I didn't want to oversell like my hype for the film. But I really enjoyed it. I had so much fun. I laughed. I teared up. I felt every kind of emotion watching this movie, and that just delivers a phenomenal, fantastic, and enjoyable cinematic experience. Universal, I give you props. This is how you do a live action remake. Well done. Would not recommend doing any more of these unless it's How to Train Your Dragon. Don't try to push it. Don't push it. Overall, I give it a 9.3 out of 10. It's a little lower than my original rating for the original How to Train Your Dragon. I'm only knocking it because of the fact that it is a retelling of the story, and that's the only reason why. It's still a great film, but at the end of the day, it is still a live action remake. Doesn't take away from my enjoyment of the movie. I had an absolute blast. That was fun. So far, it's the highest rated movie of 2025 for me, so who would have thought? I didn't think that. So it's a 5 out of 25 on the conviction meter. It's a 9.3 out of 10 in our review. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours down in the comments below. Let's chat all things about How to Train Your Dragon. And while you're down there, consider hitting that like and subscribing for us, joining our community here on YouTube. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with us here. Truly appreciate it. It means the absolute world to us. But before you go, there's a few video recommendations over here that YouTube is suggesting to you. One of which is our review of the original How to Train Your Dragon film that came out 15 years ago in 2010. Feel free to join us over there, and we'll see you all in the next one.